Charting Toward Intimacy covers mature topics. Listener discretion is advised.
Do you feel like you always need to say yes? Like, you feel like you know that you don't have to, but you feel like you should say yes. I want to dig into this a little bit more and give you a very practical meditation that you can work on to help you navigate this weird feeling that you have that maybe you really should be always saying yes to your husband. Welcome to Charting Toward Intimacy, the sex and intimacy podcast for Catholic women. My name is Ellen Holloway, and I'm a Catholic speaker and coach who specializes in sex and marital intimacy. And I am on a mission to help you actually enjoy and desire good, holy sex with your spouse. So today, I want to dig into a little bit more on saying yes and should we always say yes. A couple of weeks ago, we had a podcast episode in a similar vein, and I got more questions on it. And so I wanted to just really talk about this topic a little bit more because sex is a really good thing. It's an excellent, excellent thing. And the answer to the question of should I always say yes to my husband is kind of a complicated question because you should always, you are free always to say no. Of course, you are free to say no. Your yes wouldn't mean anything if you weren't free to say no. The same goes for God's love, right? Adam and Eve were free to say no, and they did. But God gave them that ability, that option to say no, because their love wouldn't have been love if God hadn't given us an option to turn away from him, right? So the same goes for anything in marriage, but particularly sex, especially because it is this, very efficacious sign of spousal love, of the Trinity, of the love that God has for us, of so many things. And so, should we always say yes? Well, maybe. Do we always have to say yes? No. And so, and this is where I think after a couple of people listened to that podcast episode from a few weeks ago, that was on should sex be obligatory in marriage? I think we can, as women, we love to overthink things. We just love to overthink things. And we can just start spinning on this, wait, but I don't really want to have sex right now. Should I, but I should say yes. I should, and I should want this. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But here's the practical meditation that I want you to focus on if this is something that you're struggling with. And even if it's not something you're struggling with, this is still a phenomenal meditation that literally everyone should meditate on. Is I want you to think about the Annunciation. You're like, whoa, sex, Annunciation? Hold on. Aren't those the two farthest things from each other? Actually, not so much. They're really similar. And why are they similar? Because life was conceived in Mary's womb, and not just any life, eternal life. God incarnate was conceived in Mary's womb at the Annunciation. Life is conceived sometimes in sex, right? No, I'm not saying that Mary had sex during the Annunciation. You all know me better than that. But Mary had a very free choice. She had a choice to say yes, and she had a choice to say no. And at no point did Mary spin in her head and go, well, but I really should say yes to this. Shouldn't I? This is a really good thing. I really should say yes. No. She deeply desired it as soon as it was offered to her. And she said yes from a place of absolute true freedom. our yes to sex with our husband should be as free and joy-filled and grace-filled as Mary's yes. Or we can strive for that, right? I'm thinking of that song that's like, I want to say yes like Mary did. And I actually kind of hate that song because I'm just like, but I can't say yes like Mary did, right? I'm not Mary. I'm not immaculately conceived. I can't be Mary. So look at me on this podcast telling you to go say yes like Mary did. And I struggle with that. So if you struggle with that, please know you're not alone. But again, and I'm offering this to you as a meditation. So I'm not going to like beat a dead horse here. But I just want to give you a few more things to just like nibble on as you're meditating on the Annunciation and where your yes is at. And you just like Mary didn't dwell on the decision to say yes or no. She just like fully, wholeheartedly said yes. And she had every freedom to say no. But like, she just said yes. And she didn't look back, right? And so like when we're making our decisions, particularly in sex, it never helps to dwell and look back and ruminate on past decisions that we've already made. Like, oh, should I have said yes last night? I said no. Should I have said yes? It doesn't matter. You said no last night. Last night has passed. The option that you have right now is tonight, right? Or maybe you don't have tonight. Maybe you're avoiding pregnancy and now you're in your fertile window. Well, the option is that now you have the next available time. We as women, we overthink things so much and we just let things spin in our brains. And I really just want you to encourage your brain to stop spinning. I really want to encourage you to tell your brain to stop spinning because it's not helping you. And I think that Mary can really help you here in meditating on her Annunciation, on the freedom of her yes, on her full and complete ability to say no. She had a full and complete ability to say no. And she, at no point, shoulded on herself by going, oh, I should say yes to this because it's really good. So take that to your next holy hour. It is well worth a holy hour. It's well worth several holy hours. And and if you don't have a holy hour, take it to your next 10-minute prayer session tomorrow morning, tonight before you go to bed. And just really let Mary help you answer this question. Thanks so much for listening. If you're ready to stop feeling confused or discouraged about sex and finally understand how God designed your body for real, beautiful pleasure, you need to check out the Orgasm Course for Catholic Women. I'll teach you the tools and the mindset you need to experience the intimacy you were made for, all deeply rooted in Catholic Church teaching. Head over to vinesandfullbloom.com/orgasm and I'll see you inside.